Intrusion detection and prevention system subject. Today we are going to look at different attacks at the application layer. This subject, before going to this subject, so you must have knowledge on all the protocols. So it will consider you already know ISO OSI protocol. So we'll be concentrating only the attacks at each and every layer. Look at the application layer. This is the layer end user will be communicating. The major functions are like network transparency, resource allocation, and problem partitioning and all. And here the hacker will be trying to exploit DNS protocol, FTP protocol, TFTP protocol, BOOTP protocol, SNMP, R login protocol, MIME protocol, NFS protocol, Telnet protocol, APPC protocol, AFP protocol. So these are all the protocols the hackers will be trying to exploit by looking into the protocol vulnerabilities. So suppose I'll take Telnet as an example. So intentionally opening like 10,000 telnet connections to make a particular server go down. That is a kind of telnet attack. Hackers will be using telnet to exploit the protocol by using application layer so that they can enter into the enterprise. Next one is the presentation layer. The major job of the presentation layer is to translate between the application and the network formats. Here, RPC is exploited, SMB exploited, NCP exploited in case of a presentation layer. Coming to the session layer, establishing, maintaining, and ending a session is the major job of a session layer. Net bias protocol is exploited in the session layer. Coming to the transport layer, so it will be doing the flow control and it will be exchanging the data between the parties, sender and the receiver. So these are the protocols exploited at the transport layer: TCP, ARP, RARP, SPX, NW link protocol, ATP protocol, net BIOS extended user interface protocol. These are the protocols exploited. If you consider the TCP, sync flood attack is an example of a TCP protocol. In the network layer, it will be dealing with the packet switching and data congestion and routing. These are the major jobs of the network routing. It will be dealing with the ARP protocol, IP protocol, RARP protocol, OSFP protocol, ICMP protocol, RIP protocol, IGMP protocol, DTP protocol, DEC net protocol. These are all the protocols exploited at the network layer. Coming to the physical layer, physically damaging the cables or physically damaging the servers, it's a kind of attack. And IEEE 802 header format is manipulated, and ISDN network is manipulated. These are the kind of attacks on the physical layer. So in the intrusion detection system, you have NIDS, Network Intrusion Detection System, and HIDS, Host Intrusion Detection System. So we look at the difference between NIDS and HIDS. When we discuss about NIDS, its scope is very large. Here, any device, any electronic device that is getting the internet. So that device is using the internet, means that is connected in the network. That will comes under the NIDS, where we will be using IoT devices and any kind of smart equipment nowadays, and your smart watches. your mobile phones, laptops, desktop computers, everything, whatever the electronic device, by using that device we can access internet, means that device is connected in the NIDS. That's the reason NIDS is very broad in the scope, whereas HIDS, in the HIDS you will have client and server kind of organization, so it is very narrow in the scope. And in the NIDS, it is very easy to set up a network. Analyzing the device connectivity, router data, and the log data at every router, it is very easy to set up a system to observe NIDS. Whereas compared to NIDS, it is complex in the HIDS. NIDS, it is very easy to identify the attacks from the outside. So outside attacks, how you can observe is like by analyzing the network traffic, you can observe if any outside attacks are there. It is something like a person won't get international calls, but on a particular day, he is suddenly getting like hundreds of calls from the blocked IPs, international IPs, blocked IPs. Then it's a kind of attack. So by observing the network traffic, you can identify the uh, outside attacks. But it is in the HIDS, it will only it will identify only inside attacks. In the NIDS, it is very less expensive to implement, whereas in the HIDS, it is more expensive to implement. So NIDS completely depends on the recorded data at a network, at an entire network. Whereas in the HIDS, detection is based on what any single host can record. Only it depends on the host recordings, but here it will depends on the entire network data. In the NIDS, very low level inspection is done, right? Packet header inspection is done, but in the HIDS, it is not necessary. NIDS, if it is a very near real-time response, is also considered as a intrusion, but it is different here. If you have only suspicious log entries, then only it will consider it as a intrusion. In the NIDS, it is operating system independent, and the HIDS is operating system specific. In the NIDS, network attack, it will observe the payload. It will observe the payload to identify whether it is an intrusion or not. But here it will take local attacks. It will observe the local attacks. What are the attacks trying to attack the network? Then only it will identify that one as an intrusion. Whereas in the NIDS, it will identify unsuccessful attack attempts also, but in the HIDS, it's not possible. So this is all for today. In the lecture 2, so we have discussed what are the differences between NIDS and HIDS, and we have discussed about what are the different attacks, how the ISO OSI layer is exploited with different protocols. This is all for today in the lecture 2. We'll continue the next topic in the coming lectures.